Hey, what is going on, guys? So here we're taking a look at the built-up Figure-rise Standard Wargreymon Amplified, and this kit is so cool. I gotta say, this is probably the coolest kit that I've built in a while, and it's really fun. As I always say this, but I really do mean this, guys. It is fun to always build something non-Gunpla for a change, and so whether it be something like this that's completely out of the norm, or like a Frame Arms Girl, or Frame Arms Kit, or Megami Device Kit, or anything like that. So as long as you're building something different every now and then, it's always refreshing, and this was very refreshing. It was something completely different. It wasn't really the most complicated kit. It didn't really take all that long to put together, but it's really nicely detailed. The color separation is good. It does have some stickers, a good amount of them, I will say that. But some of the color separation of the parts is really nice. The detail is good, and the construction is all good where it needs to be. I mean, all the articulation I think that you would really want out of a kit like this is all there, but they kept the construction really simple for it at the same time as well. So now the kit is not perfect by any means. There are some bits that you could complain about with it, which I will a little bit later on, but I just want to focus on the fact of how awesome this kit looks. And for me, at the end of the day, that's always the most important thing. Does it look cool? That is the most important thing, and it definitely does, so I'm really happy with this. It looks awesome. So before we even get into all the details about it, let me just say a big thank you to USA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review, guys, and I would highly recommend you check this kit out. The link to USA Gundam Store will be down in the video description below, as always, and the coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10, you can use to save yourself 10% off of everything on their store. So definitely check this kit out if you like the way that it looks right now. But let's go into it in a little bit more depth and take a look at the accessories first, shall we? And as for the accessories for this kit, we've got this little piece, and that is it. No other stickers, no other accessories of any kind. I mean, obviously he's got some different weapons and stuff on him, which we'll get to in a moment, but this is the only piece that you have left over as an accessory for this kit, and this is for taking the shield parts here on the back, the Brave shield on his backpack, which is covered with a lot of white stickers. All the little white bits you see here are stickers. You can pull these parts off of the back and plug them onto this connector piece here, which will basically then turn it into the shield there now. And then over here on the arm, in place of one of the Dramon killers, the giant claws there on his arm, you can place the shield onto this connector peg instead. And then the shield will connect onto the arm like that. Now, what you can also do with the Dramon killers, I'm just going to call them claws for the sake of it, is that you can actually connect both of them onto the same arm if you want as well. So here, this part on the inner side of the arm has a peg hole on the inside as well. So you can have both claws on the same arm like that. And actually, despite these being pretty heavy, the joints on this kit, especially on the arms, are pretty tight. They're pretty solid joints, especially there at the shoulders. So you're not going to have any weight issues with that at all. So that is always nice as well. But also, as for the shields, you can just connect each half onto each arm by itself here on like the back of the arm like this, or side of the arm, wherever you're going to plug that. You can plug that onto the arms separately as well, each half of the shield. So let's get into talking about some of the articulation, and I'll just start off with this part here of the shield. While it's off the body, it's maybe a little bit easier to see, but this does open up. You've got a series of 3 different clear purple parts in there, 1, 2, 3 for the different parts of this, which will basically turn into like wings on the backpack there. And then on the actual kit, it's going to look like that. So it gives you this really cool look of that clear purple behind the Wargreymon there like that. And so it looks really cool. Although one thing I will say is that it does kind of crash with the hair here in the back. The hair does come in contact with the backpack parts of the shield there kind of easily. Let me go ahead and mention where the rest of the stickers are on this kit. As I mentioned, it is a kind of sticker heavy kit. So aside from all the white stickers that are on the backpack, we've also got stickers for the eyes, of course, which is not really all that surprising. That's fine. But these are red stickers here for this red bit there up on the shoulders, as well as the horns on the head. You've got 1, 2, 3 little black stickers, which will wrap around there to give you little black stripes there on the horns. Around on the back, we've got 1, 2, 3 of these foil purple stickers there for those little bits. You can see here on the butthole is where you'll have your action base adapter can plug into there. And then around here on the hands for the little thumb claw, that is a white little sticker that fits over the top of there as well. The one interesting thing about this, that I'm not exactly sure why, but it's got hard points here, and then on the side skirts over there, on the side of the legs here, and I'm not really sure what those are meant to be for. I'm guessing they're just part of the design, and so they had to put them on here, but they don't really serve any purpose as far as I can tell. But they do seem to be just your standard 3mm peg holes, so any other sort of accessories or something that you wanted to plug onto here, I suppose you could do that. So if you wanted to plug some more accessories onto the claws, onto these side skirt bits, or onto the side of the legs, you could add some more parts onto there, I suppose. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the articulations. So the hair itself will move up and down a little bit like that, not really too much, but the head will also move. But as you can see, I can't move it back too much just because it's hitting the shield parts. Let me just take that off again for a moment. With that off, the head will come all the way up to there. It's just with the backpack parts on, you can't do that. So that is a little bit annoying, a little bit frustrating, but the design of the neck is really cool. You have the red parts in there. The color separation all for this area just all looks really nice. And the little red parts and the dark gray parts here on the chest, all the color separation looks fantastic here. The neck has two joints, an upper and lower joint there, so you can get that all the way down to here as well for a very cool menacing look for that. In the stomach section, you've got an upper and lower joint here as well, so that is going to give you a little bit of articulation. Again, basically, if you kind of loosen that up, you can get more articulation out of these joints, so like back and forward to there. But now that they're loose, they're also just going to be just loose, obviously. So kind of best bet is to just keep those pressed together as firm as possible, just to make sure that you're not getting anything loose here in the stomach section. That means that you're not really going to have any movement forward and back, side to side. You can just kind of rotate that here at the waist. So not a ton of articulation here in the torso section. As for the shoulders, this whole section will move in and out like that, so you can actually bring those arms very far forward like that. This bit of shoulder armor will move up and down. Now, unfortunately, we have the red sticker there, but the dark gray in here is a separate dark gray part under there. We have two halves though for this part, front and back. So you'll have a seam line down the middle of that shoulder armor, also a seam line down the middle of this part, seam line down the middle of the bicep, seam line down the middle of the elbow joint, as well as a seam line through this dark gray part there around the wrist. Seam line up here on like the lower half of the side horns, and then for the thigh you'll have a seam line down the middle of that orange parts there as well. And then on here on the feet, the top and bottom half of the feet, there's a seam line going around the lower edge of the foot there. So there is a lot of seam lines on this kit, unfortunately. Most of them are not really very noticeable, although I mean, I've just got the kit snapped up. Obviously I haven't done anything about the seam lines yet, but they're not really all that noticeable. So even if you aren't really too worried about that, I think you're not really going to notice it. It's not going to bother you too much. But anyway, back to the arms. So ultimately you can bring the arms up. Like I said, this joint does feel very tight, and you're not really going to be able to bring the arms up that high. Seems to be only maybe about to here. You can't get the arms up very high at all, it seems like. The joint could go up a little bit more, but it's this shoulder armor that's just getting in the way. There's not really anywhere else for it to go, unfortunately. So the arm will then rotate there at the top, and then we've got a nice joint there at the elbow, which will give you more than 90 degrees, but not really a whole lot much more else than that. See, is looking very buff there, and then the wrist is just on a ball joint, and it's just like the one piece there for the orange, and then the one piece there for the back of the hand. Here, no other hand option parts or anything included with this, unfortunately. An open hand or something would have been pretty cool. Down here around the waist section, these side bits will move up and down. That's really the only thing that moves here on this front and back. There's nothing really too much else there. Whereas the joints in the arms, especially in the shoulders, feel really tight. The legs, it's not really so much. It's definitely looser here and definitely looser in the ankles, unfortunately, because it is a pretty top-heavy kit. There's a lot going on the top. He's obviously got very heavy arms and heavy backpack. So the loose ankles are a little bit of a problem when you're trying to just make this kit stand up. Also, just the general shape of the legs, how the ankle is very far back. Just you can see like the line of this, you have, if you wanted to make this like standing up as straight as possible, it's going to be looking sort of weird. It kind of has to be a little bit more back angle like that to get it the right look. But anyway, the legs can move all the way out to the side like that, very nice, and all the way out to the front like that. They're kind of that thing where they don't go straight out to the front, it kind of goes out to the front to an angle like so. And then the bend here at the knee is a double joint in the knee, so you are getting a really nice knee bend there, and so that looks pretty good. But we do have some rotation there at the top of the hip as well. This part here on the front of the foot moves up and down on its own like that, and then just again nice color separation here with all these parts around on the leg. Those look really nice. And the ankle, the foot will move forward to there and then back to there, up underneath the feet, no details or anything like that. Inside these claws is just hollow, and then the ankles can also move side to side a little bit. It's kind of a interesting side joint. So feet to be at an angle, you kind of have to work at it a little bit, but you can't get the feet off to an angle like that for getting a wide stance. As far as the claws, nothing moves except just the claws themselves will move up and down like that. And for a size comparison, here it is compared with a standard size high grade kit. So as you can see, it's pretty big. It's definitely going to be closer to the size of a master grade kit as far as what we think of in terms of Gunpla anyway. So it's a good size kit. And one other thing I want to mention about the hair and the backpack, as I mentioned that being a problem, not really being able to get the head up because of the hair and the backpack colliding with each other like that, is that actually when the backpack opens up, let's see here, you kind of fold out the wings, they kind of pull out to the side a little bit when you open that up. So they open up and also pull out to the side like that. So when the wings are fully opened up like that, you do actually have a little bit more space here in the center to actually get the hair up out of the way, and so you can actually get the head pointed up like that if the wings are completely opened up at the back. So that is good at least. Alright, so getting this up on an action base or not, as we'll see as we're trying out a few different poses, you'll see you'll run into a little bit different problems with this. With it being up on an action base, you have just the one connection point there on the butt, and it's just the one small little hole there for the 3mm circular pig. Now that could be a problem because the kit is pretty heavy. As we saw, it's pretty big and just has some very heavy parts to it. So just being connected onto a circular peg means that it could very easily sway or rotate one side or the other. Fortunately, it doesn't really seem to be too much of a problem at this point because the peg is very tight in there, so it doesn't really seem like it's going to be going anywhere for the time being. That's good. But it's definitely going to be putting some stress on the connector just because of the way that it plugs onto there and just the weight of the kit and everything. So I think some sort of different connection to an action base would have been a little bit better, I think. But even if you don't want to put an action base, you just want to have it in a standing ground pose, then like I said, the ankles being a weak point of this kit is probably going to give you some problems as well. You got to be a little bit careful how you're posing the kit. Make sure that your ankles are well placed there. It does have some very big feet, that's good, but just the weakness of the ankles is going to be a little bit of a danger area when you're trying to get this kit. Just make sure it's not going to fall over. That said, that is of course just only if we're talking about the unpainted kit. I think if you were going to go ahead and paint the whole kit up, then obviously that little extra layer of paint, or however you might want to fix that joint to tighten it up a little bit, will definitely help just the stability of the kit if you have that joint just tightened up just a little bit. But at the end of the day, besides having a good amount of stickers on there, a good amount of seam lines, and some just alright articulations, nothing really too crazy, still at the end of the day the kit looks fantastic and I really enjoy it. So I gotta say, really happy with this kit, and for the list price of just being this kit costing you around $40, I'd say definitely worth it. And you might think you can definitely get like a much more complex like master grade Zaku 2.0 or something like that for around the same price, if not a little bit cheaper. But this kit, you gotta remember, it is pretty big, so it's got a good amount of plastic in there, and the construction is pretty nice on it, despite the mentioned flaws. If you're like me and you think that this kit looks really cool and you'd like to have it, then I would say by all means go ahead and go for it. Pick one up if you can. Having this thing up on the shelf looking as cool as it does, I think you'll definitely be happy with it at the end of the day. So like I said in the unboxing, I've never really been a huge Digimon fan, so I'm not really too into the franchise in general, but if they make some more cool kits of some cool designs like this later on in the Figure-rise Standard line, I'm definitely looking forward to those. We'll just have to see what Bandai comes out with. For the time being, guys, if you have any other further questions or comments about this kit, feel free to leave those down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, thank you to USA Gundam Store for their support, and goodbye, guys.